Hi everyone, Angela here. In this video, I'll show you how to make these fun Christmas holiday hair scrunchies with just a bit of fabric and a trim made of faux fur, or sometimes called fun fur. Links for all the tools I use can be found in the description below. Cut your main fabric 4 inches by 20 inches. You'll also need 10 inches of 1/4 inch wide elastic. The faux fur that I'm using has a medium length pile or length of the fur with a stretchy knit backing. Now when you cut fur like this, you don't want to cut through both layers, because what'll happen is you'll end up cutting the fur into shorter lengths and bits of fur are going to get everywhere, and you really don't want this to happen. Use scissors, a razor blade, or an X-Acto knife to just cut along the backing. By doing this, the fur will just separate and you'll have minimal shedding. I'll be cutting along the lengthwise grain of the fur, flip it over to the wrong side, and with a marking pen or Sharpie, mark out a piece 2 inches by 20 inches and cut out. Once you've cut out, remove all the loose fur. Next, place your fabric on top of the fur, right sides together, matching the long edge, and then pin or clip in place if you need to. Using a 1/2 inch seam allowance and a longer stitch length, start by back tacking, and as you sew this seam together, push the fur towards the inside of the seam. If you're using fur with a shorter pile, you won't have to worry about doing this. Back tack to finish, and then open up the fabric and finger press along the seam. Now fold your fabric in half, match your short ends with right sides together. Then flip it over so that the fur is at the top. Match your seam lines on the right side and make sure your seam allowances on both sides are facing down. Again, with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, stitch these short sides together, back tacking at the start and finish. Then turn your fabric around and at the halfway mark where it's folded, cut little notches on each side. We'll be using the burrito method to make these scrunchies, so these notches will help match the fabric edges evenly. Now open up your fabric and just finger press that short seam open. Turn your fabric over so the seam is on the bottom, and then roll the top layers together so it's nice and skinny. Keeping that skinny roll out of the way, match the bottom seam of the fabric together with the seam of the fur. Again, push the ends of the fur in, and then start your stitching at that very top edge of the seam allowance. Start by back tacking and continue stitching with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, making sure that that center fabric is out of the way and isn't going to get caught in the stitching. Stitch a few inches at a time, and with your needle down each time, pull that center fabric towards you. Make sure to match those center notches and continue stitching. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and turn on all of your notifications, and leave a comment below. So here's where we started. We need to leave an opening about 2 or 3 fingers wide, so we'll finish our stitching here by back tacking. So what we have now is a channel in the center. I'm going to grab my clover bodkin, insert the elastic through that opening, and pull it down the narrow end so it stays nice and secure. Insert the bodkin and elastic through the channel, and then squish all the fabric together as much as you can. Release the end of the elastic and remove the bodkin. Tie the ends together like a balloon. Pull the knot nice and tight, leaving the ends about 1 inch long. Find the opening and then pull all of the fabric and elastic right side out. Some of the fur may be sewn into the seams, so just use the blunt end of a large sewing needle and pull it out. To close the opening, it's best to hand stitch it. Match the seams of the opening together and then just fold the fur out of your way. With a single thread, close the opening with a slip stitch. Make sure to catch a bit of the backing of the fur and then the fold of the fabric with each stitch. Now please keep in mind you don't have to use this exact type of fur. You can use something different such as Sherpa or even use minky fabric as the trim. And there you have it, a Christmas holiday scrunchie. Make sure to watch some of my other videos. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, take care and happy sewing.